Let's go.
AITA for accepting a prosthetic leg after cancer, even though my 11-year brother thinks it's unfair and my mom agrees with him. I, 18F, had cancer. Bone cancer. It started in my thigh and spread fast. The only way to stop it was to amputate above the knee. I was 16 when I lost my leg. I'm 18 now, and just barely putting myself back together. The last 2 years have been a whirlwind of chemo, pain, isolation, and feeling like I was just fading. I missed most of school, missed friends, missed being a teenager. And when it was all over, I was left with a stump, a pile of trauma, and no real plan for how to feel human again. The doctors said I was a candidate for a high-functioning prosthetic, a bionic leg. It wasn't just cosmetic. It would give me a shot at walking properly again, going to uni on my own, even being able to do stairs without crawling. It's expensive, though. The NHS covered some, but not all. That's when my mom stepped in. She said we could use part of a savings fund she'd kept for emergencies and future needs, some of which was apparently meant for my little brother, 11M. He's neurodivergent and has always needed a bit more help. He's smart and sweet, but also very emotionally intense. My mom calls him her sunbeam, and honestly, the house has revolved around him my entire life. She helped me get the prosthetic. It changed everything. For the first time since the amputation, I could walk more than a few meters without crutches or collapsing from exhaustion. It's not perfect, but it's given me a future. Now, here's where things went sideways. Last week, my little brother had what my mom calls a bad emotional day. He told her he was sad because everyone paid attention to me, and I got a robot leg and he didn't get anything. He said it was unfair that I got something cool and expensive when he didn't. Instead of explaining the obvious that I lost a leg, that this wasn't a gift, that it wasn't about fair, my mom sat me down and said maybe she shouldn't have spent so much on me without thinking of how it might affect him emotionally. I didn't know what to say. She said she regrets not waiting until he was old enough to understand, that he's very sensitive, and I need to try and see it from his side. And now I feel like the villain, for surviving, for walking again, for not being smaller, quieter, easier to ignore. I didn't ask for any of this. I didn't ask to lose my leg. I didn't ask for her money. I didn't ask to be born into a family where even surviving cancer somehow feels like a competition I was supposed to lose. So AITJ for accepting a bionic leg, knowing it came from a fund my mom also set aside for my younger brother and knowing he's hurt by it. Because right now I feel like I'm being punished for not dying. Consensus. Not the jerk. Update. April 27th, 2025, 4 days later. Hi again. I wasn't planning on posting a full update, but honestly, I don't even know how to process what just happened, and I need to get it out somewhere. If you didn't see my original post, quick summary. I lost my leg to cancer at 16. I'm 18 now. Got a high-end bionic prosthetic with help from my mom. My little brother, 11M, who's always been treated as the special one, got upset that I had something cool and expensive. My mom made me feel guilty for surviving. Anyway, yesterday I came home from work. I do a few shifts a week at a local cafe to save for uni. I had my prosthetic charging in my room, on its dock like I always do. It's super delicate while charging because the joints are exposed and the internal circuits are vulnerable. I found my brother in my room. He had unplugged the charger. He was trying to make it move, manually bending the knee joint, yanking the ankle around to see if it would walk on its own. I yelled at him to stop, but it was too late. The main knee motor made this awful grinding sound, and then the whole leg sagged like a broken doll. He dropped it and ran downstairs crying. I just stood there holding the pieces. The leg is dead. Totally dead. Those things aren't built for rough handling. They're expensive, sensitive, custom-built to match my body. It's not something you can fix at a random shop. It has to go back to the manufacturer. Repairs cost thousands. Even assuming it's repairable, it'll take months. I went to my mom absolutely shattered, thinking at least this she'd take seriously. She cried, hugged my brother, and said, "He didn't mean it. He's just curious." Then she told me, "You need to be more understanding. He's only 11. It's not like he knew how important it was." I honestly don't remember much after that. I just felt myself shutting down. And DRC, no apology, no promise to help fix it. No acknowledgement that without that leg, I can't walk more than a few meters without pain. That I can't go to work. That I can't go to uni like this. That I'm being dragged back to being helpless because a kid wanted to play with my body. The final blow, she said. It was in my room. Charging, in my private space. Now I'm trapped. I can't afford repairs on my own. The grant money is long gone. Insurance might cover some of it, maybe, but the deductible is massive. And my mom made it very, very clear she won't be helping again. I don't even know what to do. I feel invisible. Disposable. Like the only acceptable version of me is the one who quietly disappears into the background so her sunbeam can shine. I survived cancer. I lost my leg. I fought to be able to stand on my own again. And now it's broken because an 11-year-old thought it looked fun and no one cares. So, I guess that's my update. Editor's note. Commenters call for OOP to file a police report against mother and brother. Update 2. April 29th, 2025, 6 days later. Hi again. I didn't expect this many people to care. Honestly, just having strangers tell me I wasn't crazy or selfish meant more than I can explain. I wanted to give a final update because a lot has happened since the last post. After my brother broke my prosthetic, and my mom basically blamed me for it, something inside me cracked. It wasn't anger, not really. It was this cold, heavy finality, like realizing a door had closed and no matter how much I knocked, nobody was going to open it. I stayed in the house a few more days. It was unbearable. Every time I saw my mom and brother, it was like nothing had happened. Like my life hadn't just been shattered again. No offer to fix the leg, no plan to replace it, just silence. Awkward family dinners. My brother bragging about how he figured out how the robot leg worked, like it was some science project. So I made a decision. I called my dad. He and my mom are divorced. I've always been closer to him, but didn't want to burden him before. I told him everything. He was furious. He showed up the next morning with his truck and said, "Pack what you need. You're coming with me." It wasn't a dramatic screaming match. I didn't even cry. I packed a duffel bag, grabbed my schoolwork, my clothes, what was left of my dead prosthetic. I left behind photos, decorations, anything that felt too tangled up with who I used to be before cancer, before everything. When I walked out, my mom barely looked at me. My brother cried and said, "Don't be mad at me." My mom said, "She'll come back when she calms down." She still doesn't get it. I'm not coming back. I'm living with my dad now. His house is smaller, but it's quiet, peaceful, safe. I can charge my broken prosthetic without fear. I can walk, limp, around without being afraid someone will sabotage me again. He's already helping me contact the prosthetic company to see about repairs or replacement. He said he'll co-sign a loan if insurance won't cover enough. He said, "You didn't survive all this just to end up crawling again." I have a lot of healing to do. Emotionally, too. But for the first time in 2 years, I can breathe. And when I eventually walk properly again, whether it's on this leg or a new one, it'll be because I fought for myself, not because someone gave me permission. Thanks for reading, for caring, and for reminding me that surviving isn't selfish. ADA, for not forgiving father after he stole my inheritance. It's 1999. My mom passes away from liver cancer. I'm 25 years old, single child, wet behind the ears, and gullible. 80% of my mother's estate at the time. About $16,000, but we're not in the USA. Pays out to me. My dad says due to my mom's deteriorating mental health, they never had time to change her will. The money should have come to him. Can I pay it over to him? I agree, because one is supposed to trust your parents. Fast forward about 5 years, and one brief failed marriage later, he finds himself a nice Russian bride. The dynamic changes, and he badmouths my late mom at every BBQ, etc. And his new wife is the best thing ever. I move cities, get married, start a family of my own. We chat on the phone once a week or every 2 weeks, but don't see each other for years. 8 years to be exact. Him and the Russian bride come and visit once, borrow my truck to go to a big national park. I gave it to them with a full tank of diesel. I got it back empty with the light on. In 2023, he sold his house and moved to Russia with the bride. I'm not sure if he invested the house's money locally or if he moved it to Russia. I suspect the latter so that the bride has easy access to it when he falls over. My, now late wife, falls ill and passes away last year. I sent a message to everyone after she passed away with all the funeral details and what happened. My dad's response: "Oh, now that's bad news." He doesn't bother flying in for the funeral service or anything. He messages me a few weeks later asking if she was cremated or buried. Like, WTF. I speak to his sister, a highly educated Ph.D. with many law degrees, etc. We speak about my mom's passing and the similarities to what happened to me. I mention the inheritance. She freaks out. She, being legally qualified, helped my mom with the will in the hospital before she passed away, as she knew my dad would be a douche about the money. I confront my dad about the money, 25 years after he swindled me out of it. He denies it, then tries to claim the amount was 10% of what it truly was, and with every lie I bring out what I remember to be the truth, along with evidence. Eventually, I tell him never to contact me again and stop answering his messages. He tries to message me once a while, but it's more and more random. Turns out that it looks like he has early stages of dementia. A few months later, some distant family contacts us, asking why I have no contact with my father, because he reached out to them to talk, and he seems lonely. We suspect the bride leaves him alone at home because with dementia, he is a handful and she doesn't want to deal with him. We tell them what happened and they understand. As time passes, his sister is now asking me to forgive him for what he did and to free my soul from these shackles, as she calls it. My reply was from the series Billions. Hate is nature's most perfect energy source. It's endlessly renewable. I have no urge to forgive him, but AITA for not forgiving? AITA for telling my stepdad he's not sharing father of the bride duties with my dad at my wedding. I'm 27F, getting married in a few months, and my dad is walking me down the aisle and we're planning a 4-person dance with me and him and my fiancé and his dad. As soon as my fiancé and I decided this was what we wanted, I was upfront with my stepdad about the fact he would not be given any father of the bride duties. I knew he'd expect and want them, so I wanted to get on top of it, so he and my mom couldn't accuse me of blindsiding them/him. He's been with my mom since I was a few months old. He always saw me and my brother, 29, as his kids, but we always saw Dad as our only dad. There were a lot of fights that were kept from me and my brother as kids over this. My stepdad wanted Dad to make space for him to do some of the dad things. My dad didn't want to give up any time or things with us that he had, since he already lost the ability to see us all the time. Mom was always presenting it like stepdad was our primary dad. But she and Dad shared equal custody, and my dad did more than my stepdad. He worked extra hours when we were with Mom so he could leave early and be with us after school. He was involved in school, in extracurriculars, in our friendships, and he showed up to extracurricular events or school events even if it was Mom's time, which was allowed BTW. That stuff was seen as anyone could come. Dad's the only one who came to everything. My stepdad isn't a bad guy, but his want to be more to us than he is has left for a lot of hurt feelings on his part and frustration on ours. This is another one where I saw it coming and I hoped getting ahead of it would help. But he was angry at me for my decision and for telling him. Mom's angry for both as well. They said it was humiliating him to tell him so straightforwardly and to basically demote him as not father of the bride. I told him I never demoted him because he never was father of the bride. He just wanted to be. He told me I should have made a bunch of different decisions. AITA. And in case people ask, he's stepdad, not paying for the wedding or financing any part of it. AITA, for making my daughter babysit her sister. I have 2 daughters, 21 and 12. I recently had to go to Lisbon for a job interview. It would take around 1 day and a night to go and come back in total. My mom was going to watch her while I went. But a day before I left her, my uncle who was living with her got hurt. It wasn't very serious, but my mother wanted to stay and take care of him for at least 1 day. Now, my oldest daughter lived with us. She works from home and doesn't have any plans on the day I was leaving. so I asked her if she could look after her sister while I was gone. I already have enough groceries for them, so all she has to do is to make sure my youngest doesn't do anything stupid, and maybe help her make dinner, not much more. She immediately got missed and said she didn't want to look after a teen for a whole day. I told her that she needs to do it at least this once, because I wasn't canceling the trip at all. She said it wasn't her responsibility to look after her sibling and got upset. Ultimately, she agreed to do it after I promised it won't be much of a burden, and I agreed to pay her. I came back a day later. My oldest daughter took care of her well, and nothing bad happened. I paid her €100, and I figured it was done. She was still a little pissed off that I made her babysit, but she was fine after I gave her the money. I was telling about this to a friend on the phone, and he said that I was parentifying my daughter, and that it wasn't her responsibility to babysit because of my plans. I personally don't think it's parentification. I rarely ask her to babysit, and I paid her, plus she stays at home almost rent-free. I think asking her to babysit once in a while isn't a crime, but my friend seems to think so. AITA